We are coming up to just over half past the hour now, which means it's time for my first segment of the week. And on the show, I'll be talking you through my artist of the week. This will be an artist who I think is doing great and big things at the moment within the music scene. I will, of course, as always, be playing two songs from that artist each week. One from a bit before and then also a new one. I will also be interviewing them live in the studio very shortly, so you will find out more about them very soon. My artist of the week is an artist called Local Rainbow, bursting onto the scene in the past couple of years from Wales and inventing and moulding their own unique sound. They leave a lasting impression with songs that really get stuck in your head. The vocals on each track are so beautiful yet powerful. An artist that deserves to be very big soon as well. The first track I will be playing is called Love You X, which was released last year and is such a brilliant journey of storytelling through clever lyricism and use of instruments. One of the most catchy songs from last year as well. The second I will be playing after that is Dodnall, which is their latest release and was released late last year and is already so iconic with brilliant themes. This is my artist of the week and they are called Local Rainbow. That is Love You X by Local Rainbow, and I am delighted to say that she now joins me in the studio. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm really good. Yeah.
Well, welcome to Radio Platform. Finally good to have you on and, well, in for the show as well.
Yeah, it's really cool here. It's a really nice place.
And I guess before we sort of get into some of the questions, I know I talked about you a little bit before that song played, but do you sort of mind introducing yourselves a little bit more for our listeners, who you are and what you do?
So my name is Local Rainbow. I'm a pop artist who writes songs in English and Welsh. I write about being on the spectrum, mental health and heartbreak.
And obviously, I guess you mentioned there about how you write about heartbreak and I guess lots of personal experiences. Yeah. I think that comes through really well in every song produced and put out. Is that the sort of way you like to write songs? Do you like to take inspiration from what's happened in your own life?
Yeah, all my songs are very personal. They're all about what's happened to me. None of it is like fantasy, it's real things, yeah.
And I guess that probably resonates a lot more with listeners and
I think so.
Your fan base as well.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like 19, I talk a lot about confidence issues, and I think a lot of young girls especially are like relating to it. Yeah, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to build an audience through your lyrics and what you're singing as well.
Yeah.
And you mentioned as well, obviously, the next track we've got coming up is called Dodnall, and you sing in Welsh and English, a lot of bilingual songs, which is really nice to hear. I think that Welsh language music is something that's having a bit of a resurgence at the moment.
Yeah, it's having a bit of a moment. It's coming into the spotlight, which is really cool.
And obviously, Dydd Music Cymru was like the other week, and that was a really important day to highlight and spotlight Welsh music. Is it important for you as well to sort of include the Welsh language in your music? Because obviously that's...
Yeah, it's become really important to me now. When I was younger in school was like, you can't speak English, so speaking English was really cool to do. And then when I came out of school, I realised, Welsh is actually, not having a lot of attention with music right now. Maybe I should give it a spotlight. Yeah.
And I guess, that's probably come from you growing up in
definitely maturing,
South Wales valleys, and it's really nice to hear that coming through. And I think a lot of bands and artists are focusing on that as well nowadays, because it's a way to sort of say, look, I'm Welsh, I'm proud to be Welsh.
Yeah, it's giving a bit of a platform from where you're coming from and your history as well through your music.
And I've noticed in the past, and a lot of people might notice if they search you, your presence is very heavy on social media.
Yeah, it really is.
And you sort of post multiple videos a day, which I think is really cool.
It's tiring, but it's really good to do. I think I post around 10 videos a day on TikTok, but it's helped me grow so much. That's where I've gained all my audience from, is on there.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to talk a little bit more about TikTok and how you feel like that has helped you and your music, because obviously I've had bands and artists on here before who have said TikTok has really helped us to just get our songs out there. snippets of songs, and then people go and listen
Tiny
to the
bits,
song.
like 15 seconds of the catchiest bit of your song, and you post it, and you post it like every day saying like, should I release this? Should I,
Yeah.
throw this out there? And people say yes, yes. So they kind of remember that 15 seconds. So when the song comes out, they're like, oh, I need to listen to the full song just to hear that 15 minutes. Yeah.
And do you think that's like helped you to gain a sort of wider audience as well in terms of your fan base
Definitely.
and grow like a unique and sort of loving fan base as well?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've grown so many like friends from it and fans. Like, I did a gig in Swansea, and I didn't expect 2 people from TikTok to actually show up. And then when they did, I was like, oh my god, like, hi, hello. And they were like so happy to see me and like freaking out. And they made me like a card saying like, we love local rainbow. They bought me a gift, and I was like, this is real, it's working. I have a fan base. What?
And I guess that's like really sort of lovely to experience, like especially as a sort of independent DIY artist, you're doing everything yourself, you're putting in so much hard work, and then to actually see it like
Pay off
in a real setting is probably really a nice experience.
It was emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. And I sort of wanted to delve a little bit more into neurodiversity, and you mentioned that a little bit earlier on, because I'm autistic myself, and I think it's really important to like highlight these topics and talk about them on the radio. Is it something that you found is challenging when making music, or do you find that it helps you?
I think it helps me with music, being creative, everything like that is a big help for anything creative. But with normal stuff like being social, stuff like that, it's really challenging. And especially like education, I was really bad with that. But creativeness, it really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and me both, we probably use our creative platforms to just escape from things. And it's like education might not necessarily be the best thing in life for us, but we sort of channel our mediums into different things, and we have a passion for what we do. So I think as I've got a little bit older, I've started to realize that doing things and just doing what you love can actually help you.
Yeah,
and,
it helps that as well. It helps your confidence in your diagnosis too.
Yeah, I think we talked about it before we started as well, like how we were quite late to be diagnosed.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you find that you tend to mask still, or do you try and...
I still mask, but I also feel a bit like at ease knowing that I don't have to mask now.
Yeah.
I don't have to mask. And that's still hard not to mask as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's... I mean, throughout life I've always masked, and it's like... But I think, like you mentioned, through music you can almost just express yourself in your medium, like in terms of what you do on stage, what you wear, or what you sing. It's a nice way to just channel.
Express it.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about sort of live shows as well and gigging, because you've had a couple of gigs recently I've seen on social media. One in Money in Pontypridd recently, with 2 great artists who
really
we love
good.
to support on the show as well, Caitlin Lavagna and
She's really
Ivor
good.
Woods as well. How was that experience for you?
It was really good. They were really nice to me, like understanding that I was on the spectrum. They gave me a quiet room to relax beforehand, which is not something you always get doing a gig. They were really great to me. Really nice time there.
And how was that to sort of like be able to perform your latest songs and stuff? And
it was awesome because it's in Ponty, which is quite near to me because I'm a Valleys girl, and there was a lot of people there, and it's just nice that the community is getting more music. That's really lovely to see.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that venue yet, but it seems
So
like
good.
a really cool place to sort of discover new bands and artists like yourself as well. And in terms of upcoming gigs as well, are there any ones that you would like to sort of talk about?
I got Immerse coming up, which
Yeah.
is really cool. I'm doing that. It's my first time doing that. I'm doing a bit of a acoustic thing there, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I did see the lineup for Immersed, and we went last year.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool festival, I think, because I went to USW, who obviously produced the festival.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that young people and students produce the festival as
It's
well.
nice.
So how are you sort of feeling about that? Because obviously it's in Tramshed, which is
Yeah.
quite a big venue, quite
It's
an
quite
iconic
big,
venue.
yeah. I'm excited for it. Sometimes I get a bit nervous doing like live shows and stuff with my autism. That's kind of like where I struggle music-wise and my autism, because you got to socialise as
Yeah.
well with the crowd, and it's a bit like I have to mask them, I
Yeah.
have to put it on. Yeah.
And I guess it's nice that you mentioned as well how Money gave you a quiet room, which I
That
think
really
is,
helped.
I think that's a really great thing to do, and I think it's something that more music venues should be doing.
Definitely.
Especially in Cardiff, because I don't think there's a dedicated venue that actually
No,
does that in
I
Cardiff.
really don't think there is.
I know we have a quiet room.
Yeah,
here,
I noticed
but
that and I thought
obviously,
that was so good. So good. I was like, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
But obviously, we're not like a typical gig venue.
Yeah.
But those smaller gig venues, if they can, it's nice to would be nice to see them accommodate people
100%.
like us and stuff as well. Because like you mentioned at gigs and everything, even like as a radio presenter, go in and just having to socialise or network with people, it's like the hardest thing ever.
It's exhausting and scary, it is.
Like, I feel like it's always nice to talk with someone about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it today on our interview, is because I think it's so important to highlight these issues and
100%.
what we face. Because, like, obviously, I class it as a disability, and it's
And I do, yeah.
yeah, it's not like, and it does affect my life. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
But it's nice to talk about it with sort of like-minded people, and also like talk about how it affects you, your life, and your music as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to talk about the latest track, latest release, which is called Dodnall, which we'll be playing on the show very shortly.
Yeah.
And that was released at the end of last year.
It was released on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we've played that on the show quite a lot recently, and it's a really beautiful,
Thank you.
beautiful track. And I think it's a lot more subdued compared to, well, Love You Extra.
Yeah,
I
it's
suppose,
completely
which we-
different, yeah.
And I guess, do you mind sort of talking us through what the lyrics mean on that and where the inspiration for the song came from?
So the song is about losing yourself and losing other people, so it can be two different meanings in that song. The reason I did it in Welsh is because I've been testing the waters with Welsh writing. I actually got a new single coming out very soon called Celwydd, which is rumours but in Welsh, and it's pop. It's not like indie like that track, which is really cool. It's coming out, but I really wanted to just jump into that Welsh scene because it means a lot to me, and I think that was the perfect start, just testing the waters with a little track just before Christmas Eve. And I didn't expect it for people to like it. I was a bit like, this won't do that very well because people use some English stuff, but it did really well. Yeah.
I think as well, I guess singing in your sort of like first language is always a nice way for people to get to really know you.
Yeah.
And to also, like, I guess your accent comes through a little bit more, and your heritage comes through more as well on a Welsh language
100%,
song. Like, being from Cardiff, it's always nice as well to like hear.
It's very thick accent, the valleys, yeah.
Hear, like my dad's from the valleys as well, and it's nice to hear, because I don't particularly have like that strong accent, but it's nice to hear the Welsh language and the accent on songs. And I guess you sort of mentioned how it's, I feel like it's more sort of dark and atmospheric song, which I really like.
100%.
And I think it lends well to your vocals and everything, because obviously I feel like you have a really beautiful way with words and your vocals, which we hear on every track that you do. And it's not me like sort of being like, oh my God, this, you know. But I play you on this show a lot, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So I guess what the listeners do hear is always really lovely and atmospheric as well. You also mentioned that you have your new single coming out very shortly as well.
Yeah.
Do you mind telling me a little bit more about that?
So I've worked with a producer called Popeth, which specialises in Welsh pop, which I love because I like doing pop. It's my favourite thing in the world. So I was like, yes, let's do it. So we just took Rumours, my English track, rewrote the lyrics. So it's called Lies in Welsh. And that's going to be coming up very soon. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
We'll make sure to promote it and play it on the show
awesome.
as soon as
It'd be
it
really
comes
good.
out as
Yeah,
well.
thanks.
And you mentioned it's with Popeth, who are actually based in the Pop Factory in Porth. And we also have a sister station in Porth,
cool.
which is so cool to like I didn't realise that there was a
Yeah.
connection there. So I guess like it's always nice to see us and an organisation like that
Yeah.
also based up in the valleys as well, which is really cool to see. And I guess, do you mind sort of telling me a little bit more about your journey as well, like how you started? Because you mentioned to me how you're like independent DIY and you record a lot of stuff in your
Yeah.
bedroom as well. So it's, do you mind telling us a little
Yeah.
bit more about that?
One thing I'll say is it's not easy. If people
No.
look around social media and think, wow, she's done it all. She's done it all from her room and it's all been successful and an easy journey. It has been up and it has been down. It has been crazy. But I think that's the fun of it as well, because I have complete control over what I do, marketing-wise, production-wise, what it sounds like. I don't have anyone telling me you can't do that or you can do that, which is really nice being on the spectrum as well. I like to have my way, but with creativeness,
Yeah.
I love to be in control of it. If someone takes control from me, I'm like, I'm not inspired to do it
Yeah.
anymore. So that's been really fun. But with like money-wise as well, that's been really hard. And like burnout, especially on the spectrum, that is something I deal with all the time. I'll do a track, I'll release it, I'll promote it, and then I'll feel like just numb for a bit and I won't feel any inspiration,
Yeah.
no songwriting inspiration, and then I rest and then I come back again. Yeah, so it's up and down.
I think, yeah, like you mentioned, it's almost, I guess that's sort of why I do my show on my own, is because I don't want any
yeah.
other input, because you can just have that freedom. And I think that comes through nicely on your songs, because it's yourself, it's you talking about your life experiences, and then also just creating music that you find fun and exciting. And then obviously the burnout that comes with doing our like creative in our creative world, and I guess we experience it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, I guess, to see the rewards from a track, like you
100%.
mentioned, sort of with when people are listening to it, when you see it being shared on TikTok and
Yeah.
stuff. It's really nice to actually see, this was really
It
difficult,
was worth it.
but it was
yeah.
also very much worth it. And I guess I would say your songs are very unique and it's your own style. But would you say there are any particular like artists or bands that have inspired you throughout the years?
I would say bands that don't fit into one genre of music. Like one artist that's on the scene now is Chapel Roan, and I followed her before she went like massive.
Yeah.
And she was always experimenting, and she didn't have this huge audience, but it kind of grew one day, and that's what I'm aiming for, is not to be stuck in a box. I hate the idea of
Yeah.
being stuck in a box.
Yeah, I think that probably comes through really well on your songs as well, because it's like one song can be an indie song and then the next one is like a pop or a
Yeah.
beat track, which is really nice. And even within the songs, they change
Yeah,
genres
they change,
halfway
yeah.
through the song, which is really cool to hear, I think. And I guess sort of coming towards, like, I know it's been a long interview, but
It's okay.
we've had a lot to talk about and
Yeah,
everything, which
so
is
much.
really nice. Are there sort of like goals that you have set for yourself within the next couple of years? Like, is there a place that you want to get to?
I would like to release an album. That is the plan currently. We're working on an album and CDs and merch, because a lot of fans have been asking for merch, which is like insane. You want to buy something with me on it? Like, what, me? But that's one big thing I want to do.
Yeah.
But like huge goals would be like playing like in arenas and stuff like that. I'd love to do all that. But you never know. But yeah, I'm just happy with where I am at the minute. With like having a fan base is all I ever
Yeah.
wanted, and for me to have that already is like I'm already so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess also like the physical format of a song or an EP or anything is always nice, because
Yeah.
it's
To see it. Yeah.
yeah, it's having a massive resurgence as well with like people actually wanting to buy those things.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So I guess, well, hopefully for you and your fans, that you'll be able to release all of that within the
Yeah.
next year or so
Hopefully.
as well. And you mentioned as well how you would love to be touring arenas and
Oh,
stuff.
I'd love to do all that. Yeah.
Are there any like dream venues that you'd like to play either in Cardiff or anywhere really?
Motorpoint Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Really, yeah. Kind of probably, well, the biggest like indoor venue in Cardiff at the moment. So a great one to sort
Yeah.
of aim for. definitely. And obviously loads of great artists have played there.
Yeah, I
who've
think
come
that's where
through
it's
the
like,
ranks.
because I've been there so many times seeing different
Yeah.
artists. It's like you go to a gig and think, especially as an artist, you're like, I want to be up there. I want to do it one day. I want to be there. Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking.
Thank you for having me.
It's been like really insightful and a really
Yeah.
lovely conversation, I believe.
Thanks.
So thanks for having us on. And also, like, we'll post this to our socials and on like Mixcloud as well, so
Nice.
people will be able to listen back to it
Yeah.
very shortly. And I guess the only thing left to do, would you mind introducing your latest song, Dodnall, to our listeners?
Okay. So this is my track, Dodnall.
Was Local Rainbow, who is my artist of the week, and she is a proper pioneer within the music scene, breaking new ground while defying typical genres, creating something new with every song. And thank you so much to her for coming in for that beautiful and insightful interview. It's always great to talk about neurodiversity on this show as well for me. Sounding huge as always on Aria's award-winning radio platform. If you would like to feature on this show as my Artist of the Week, or even just get a song played, then send an email to me, GarethReesJournalism@gmail.com, and I will try my best to get you played out on the show. That's what the show is all about, is giving small artists a chance to have their music played on the radio. And this episode is going to be a little longer because that interview was longer, but it was so nice to talk in depth about her music, because she's someone that we've been championing on the show for so long.